Hello, my most amazing artists. As you can see, I'm in a different place today because it is such a beautiful day outside. I thought we would bring our activity outdoors today. So excuse the noises in the background. I hear a dog barking, I hear some birds singing, and cars driving by, but it's all part of being outside, isn't it? Another reason why I brought us outside today is because the activity that we're going to be doing is a little bit on the messier side. We are going to be creating something called a floating chalk print, and they look like this. It's really cool. It's a print. We're going to be using chalk and different things to create this like speckly kind of texture. You will need some sort of shallow dish. I got this from the Dollar Tree. It came with a lid and a bottom, so two people can be working at the same time if you want to go grab one of those. If you have a casserole dish or like this big Tupperware container, you can use something like that. You will need some water. You'll also need some paper. I'm just going to do a smaller size today, but if your container is bigger and it can hold bigger pieces, then you can of course do bigger prints if you want to. The paper that I'm using is a little bit heavier. It can hold more water, so it doesn't wrinkle as much. But if you don't have heavier paper, then you can of course use copy paper or maybe construction paper. Give it a try. I've never tried it before with construction paper. If you don't have a heavier paper, then yours might wrinkle a little bit whenever it dries, but that's okay. You can just stack some books or something heavy on top of it after it dries, and when you take the books off, then your paper should be flattened pretty good. You're gonna need some type of grater, or you can just use an old card. Last but not least, you are going to need some chalks. The chalks that I have are called chalk pastels. These are much more pigmented than your normal sidewalk chalk, but if you don't have these and you do have sidewalk chalk, then you can use that. But there's something you need to keep in mind, is that with sidewalk chalk, it's a lot lighter in color. You can see these are very dark and more pigmented. That means they have more color. If you're going to use sidewalk chalk, you might want to look for colors that are a little bit darker, maybe the purples and blues and greens that are in sidewalk chalks, but you can of course experiment with all the colors that you have. So that is everything that you're going to need to do a floating chalk print. These are really fun and simple to do, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to first start by filling my container with some water. You don't need to fill it up all the way. Halfway should do it. You are going to take your card and you're going to start scraping your chalk into the water. So I am scraping it towards my water. So you can use any kind of colors that you want to experiment, and you need to be gentle, especially if your chalk is a little skinnier, because they might break in half. I don't know if you can tell, but these little tiny particles of chalk are floating on top of the water. That's why they're called floating chalk prints. You see how those colors are floating on top? It looks so beautiful. I'm just going to keep doing this until I am happy and ready to print. Pretty windy out here today, so you can see my particles are floating around, but that's totally fine. If you have a grater and you want to use that instead, it's basically the same kind of thing. You just want to grate it, and mine just broke, but that's okay. Grate it over the top. This gets the job done a lot faster, but the card works just as good. Alright, after you have most of the surface of the water covered, you're going to take your piece of paper and simply just lay it carefully right on top of the water. Make sure, don't press it down all the way in, you just want it to float right on the top. And after you do that, I take one of the corners and I slowly bring it up. Whoa, look at those colors. Ooh, I'm happy with that one. And you'll just want to leave that to dry somewhere. You can do this as many times as you want to. and experiment with all the different colors of chalk that you may have. So I'm going to make a few more. Let's do another one. Remember, you just place it right on top. Take one of the corners and pull up. Ooh, that one looks very cool. So I'm just gonna sit here and have fun doing this, and I'll show you what my finished prints look like after I am done.